All righty. It is time to finish part 2 of Joshua's story. And if I don't take too many side trips outside my notes, we should be able to do it in this lesson. Joshua chapter 9, the Gibeonites, charlatans, deceivers, posers. Well, chapter 9 begins with that all the kings in Canaan heard about what Israel was doing, Jericho, Ai, and they united to fight against Israel. However, the people of Gibeon had a different plan. They sent some of their leaders with donkeys, carrying worn-out sacks and old, cracked, mended wineskins. They wore patched sandals and ragged clothes. Their food supply was dry and moldy. And when they came to Joshua, one of them said, "We have come a long way to make a treaty with you." Joshua said, "If you live near us, how can we make a treaty with you?" He was skeptical. Another Gibeonite says, "We are your servants." Joshua said, "Who are you? And where do you come from?" The first Gibeonite says, "Your servants have traveled a great distance to meet you. The greatness of your God is being talked about ever since you left Egypt. Word has spread about all of your victories. The leaders of our people sent us to ask for a treaty. Let our two nations be at peace. When we left our home, our bread was freshly baked. Now it's dry and moldy. When we left home, our wineskins were new, but now they're cracked and mended. Even our clothes and sandals are worn out by our long journey." So Joshua made a peace treaty with them. It agreed to let them live. The leaders of Israel pledged their agreement with an oath. Just 3 days later, Israel learned those men were from a nation living near them. The Israelites went to their region, but did not attack them because of their oath to let them live. And now the Israelites grumbled about their leaders doing this. One of the leaders said, "We have taken an oath before God, and we cannot touch them because of that oath. But here's what we will do. We will let them live, but they will become our woodcutters and water carriers." Joshua confronted the Gibeonites and said, "Why did you deceive us? Claiming to live a long way from us, you actually live near us. You will now live under a curse. You will always serve as our woodcutters and water carriers." One of the Gibeonites said, "We know your God commanded you to wipe out all the inhabitants of Canaan. We feared we would all die. That is why we did this. We will do whatever you command." So Joshua saved them from the Israelites, and the Gibeonites became servants of Israel. So when the king of Jerusalem learned that Israel had destroyed both Jericho and Ai, and they made a peace treaty with Gibeon, he became quite concerned because Gibeon was a large city with some mighty warriors. So the king of Jerusalem united with 4 other kings, and they prepared to attack Gibeon. And when they did attack Gibeon, the Gibeonites sent word to Joshua to hurry and help them because the Amorites were attacking them. So Joshua took his entire army to help them, and God blessed this and said, "You will win." So the Israelites marched all night and attacked the Amorites. They were caught off guard and quickly defeated. When their army fled the battlefield, the Israelites chased them, killing soldiers all the way for 20 miles. Then God sent some large hailstones, and more of the Amorites died from the hailstones than from the soldiers of Israel. Joshua asked God to let the sun and moon stand still. Stand still. And they did. For about a day, the sun and the moon stood still. The 5 Amorite kings hid in the cave, and when Joshua heard where they were, he had his people roll large rocks to completely seal the cave. He left some men to guard the cave, and he told the rest of his people to continue chasing down all the Amorite soldiers so they couldn't return to their cities. Well, a few Amorites made it to their home cities, but not many. The Israelites returned to Joshua. He told his men to open up the cave and bring out the 5 kings. And then he told his army to put their feet on the necks of the kings. And Joshua told his men, never fear, never be discouraged. Be strong and courageous, because this is what will happen to any of their enemies. And Joshua then had the kings put to death, and he hung their bodies on 5 poles where they were left until evening. Then Joshua had their bodies thrown into the cave where they had hid, and he had the cave opening blocked with large rocks. Well, that same day, Israel totally destroyed Makkedah and killed everyone in it before attacking Libnah, and once again left no survivors. Then Israel attacked and destroyed Lachish and killed all of its people. That took 2 days. The king of Horam came to help Lachish, but they were annihilated. Then Israel moved on to Eglon and destroyed it in 1 day with no survivors. This is like dominoes falling all over the place. The Israelites continued to Hebron and once again killed everyone in the city and destroyed the city itself. Debir was next, totally destroyed, no survivors. This gave Israel total control of the western foothills and the mountain slopes. They had left no survivors. All conquered and cleared in one campaign, because God fought for Israel. Well, then the kings of the North Mountains, the kings from south of the Sea of Galilee, the kings in the western foothills, kings from even further west, Canaanites from east and west, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and Hivites, all joined together with a massive number of soldiers, many horses and chariots, a vast army, like the grains of the sand on a seashore. And as has been true throughout history, nothing unites factions that are fighting except for a massive force big enough to conquer them all. Well, they were united. And God told Joshua, don't fear this army, because by this time tomorrow, I will give them all to Israel, already dead. Then I want you to hamstring their horses and burn their chariots. The next morning, Israel attacked this massive army, killing every single one of them. Joshua then totally destroyed the city of Hazor, since that was the king who united everyone. Everyone in the city was killed, and the city was burned. Israel then destroyed all of the royal cities, killing their kings and totally destroying them. The Israelites took all the plunder and animals for themselves, but spared none of the people. All of this was what God had commanded to Moses, that no resident should be allowed to live. Joshua even attacked and destroyed the Anakites from the hill country. No Anakites were left alive except for a few in Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. The wars ceased and peace ruled the land for a while. And by the way, Joshua 12 contains a list of all the kings Israel conquered. East of the Jordan, 2 of them. West of the Jordan, 31. So now we come to Joshua 23. Joshua is an old man. And God says to Joshua, you are a very old man. And there's still a great deal of land to be conquered. I will drive out many of the people. Make certain that you allocate the land among the 9.5 tribes. And then Caleb showed up, and he said to Joshua, you know what Moses said about us. I was 40 when he sent us to explore the land, and I'm now 85. I want the land God promised me. I am just as strong today as I was 40 years ago. There are still Anakites on my land. Free me to drive them out. Joshua said, "Yes, brother. Go take your home." Well, then Joshua was charged with dividing the land of Canaan among the Israelites. But they didn't finish driving out all the people. The tribe of Joseph asked Joshua why they were given a small allotment since they were many people. Joshua said, "If your hill country is too small and you are so many, then take the land of the Perizzites and Rephaites for yourself." One of the leaders of the tribe of Joseph said, "The hill country isn't big enough, but the plains people, they have chariots of iron." Joshua said, "You are many and powerful. You will be given more than one allotment, so take control of the forest country and clear it for yourselves. God will help you." And sometime later, all the Israelites gathered at Shiloh, where they set up the tabernacle. 7 tribes still had not taken possession of their land. Joshua asked the people, "How long are you going to wait before you take possession of the land God has assigned to you? Choose 3 men from each tribe, and I will have them make a survey of the land." And based on that survey, Joshua divided land among the tribes. And he assigned cities of refuge and the cities of the Levites. Then, not too long after, Joshua called for the Reubenites, Gadites, and Manassites to come together. And he said to them, "You have done everything that Moses asked of you. You have obeyed my every command. You have not deserted your fellow Israelites and have been gone from your homes for a long time. Be very careful to keep the commandments of the law that Moses, God's servant, gave to you. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind, and obey him. Serve him with everything you have. May the Lord our God bless you. Return to your homes with the great wealth you have plundered: silver, gold, bronze, iron, clothing, and animals. You've earned it." Well, as we come to the end of Joshua, a long time has passed. Joshua summoned all the Israel's leaders and elders and judges and officials. Now think about who Joshua was and what he had done. Think about the respect these people held for him. He was 110 years old. The oldest men, except for Caleb, were, 50 years younger than him? They would have respected him. Joshua summoned the leaders of Israel and had some last words for them. He said, "I am very old, and you have witnessed everything that God, the Lord your God, has done for you. I have allocated your inheritance to the tribes. The Lord your God will drive the occupants out for you so that you can take possession of the land. Be very strong and be careful not to always obey what Moses wrote in the book of the law. Have nothing to do with the nations that remain among you. Do not bow to their gods. Do not swear by their gods or serve them in any way. Keep your focus on the true God. God has driven out some great, powerful nations. One of you can send 1,000 fleeing because the Lord your God fights for you, just as he promised. Love the Lord your God. If you make the survivors of these nations that are among you allies, or if you intermarry with them, then God will no longer help you drive them out of the land. These people will become like snares and traps for you, like whips on your back and thorns in your eyes. Then you will perish from the good land that God has provided." I will soon die. You know all of God's promises he made to you. You know them with all your heart and soul. You know God has kept each one of those promises. But if you turn your backs on God, he will inflict on you all the evil things he warned you about, even if he has to destroy you. If you violate his covenant and serve other gods, God's anger will burn against you and you will perish from the land he has given you. The last chapter of the book of Joshua. Joshua shared God's words, recounting the story of Israel from its beginning with Abraham through all the time to that very day. And then Joshua challenged the people. Fear the Lord your God and serve him faithfully. Get rid of the gods of your ancestors that they worshiped beyond the Euphrates River and from Egypt. But if serving God seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day who you are going to serve. The gods of your ancestors or the gods of the Amorites where you're living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Amen. Well, the people said, we'll never turn our backs on God to serve other gods. It was God himself that brought us out of Egypt's slavery and performed many miracles in front of our eyes. He has protected us through everything. Joshua said, you can't serve God. He is holy and jealous. He will not forgive your sin, your rebellion. If you turn your backs on God and serve other gods, he will bring about your end. People said, no, we will serve the Lord. Joshua said, you have said that, but no, we will serve God. Joshua said, so throw away your false gods and serve the God of Israel. We will serve and obey our God. Well, Joshua made a covenant with the people and recorded it in the book of the law of God, the law of God. Then he took a large stone and set it under a tree, under the oak tree at Shechem. He told the people, this stone will be a witness between God and his people. That oak tree, that goes back to the story of Jacob in Genesis. Just a thought. And what greater testimony could anyone have than what the Bible says about Joshua? In Joshua 24, verse 31, I believe it's third to the last verse of Joshua. It says, Israel served God throughout Joshua's entire life. What leader doesn't want to hear that? Even Moses didn't get that. Moses imparted his gift to Joshua. And Joshua had the easy part. Moses had to lead the people through the wilderness and teach them how to be a nation. Joshua just had to fight. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to close with this. Joshua 24:32 is very interesting to me. It says they buried the bones of Joseph at Shechem on the land Jacob had purchased. What makes that interesting? Let's see. 430 years in Egypt, most of which Joseph had died before. So more than 400 years before Joseph had died. Then 40 years in the wilderness. And now, a few more years. Joseph had died almost 500 years before he was buried. but they kept the bones of Joseph with them throughout their travels. They respected Joseph that much. May God richly bless you. Next, we're going through the Old Testament. Next, we're going to go through the book of Judges. I'm not going to talk about every single judge. Well, I might mention them all, but I'm going to focus on just a few. Othniel, Ehud, Deborah, Gideon, Jephthah, Samson, Ruth. Oh, well, not Ruth. She wasn't a judge. She came after. But I'm going to focus on those judges. So be prepared. God bless you. I love you. Bye.